Hey there, and welcome. So today we're going to tackle a topic that you will use, well, constantly, talking about the weekend. And by the end of this, I promise you, you're going to have the exact words and grammar to feel totally confident, totally natural in these everyday chats. So let's just dive right in.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? That little moment of panic when you're just searching for the right words. It's such a common question, but, it can be really tricky for English learners. Well, guess what? Today we're going to solve that problem. For good.
Okay, first things first. We've got to have the right vocabulary. I want you to think of these words as like the Legos, the essential building blocks for any story you want to tell about your weekend. So let's get started with a few really key actions.
And the first word is an absolute classic, relax. It's so simple, but it's powerful, right? It's the perfect way to talk about just taking it easy, recharging your batteries, enjoying some downtime. This is a fantastic word to have in your back pocket.
But on the flip side, maybe your weekend was a little more active. And for that, we've got exercise. Now, this one covers pretty much everything. Going to the gym, playing sports, going for a run. It's really that core verb for describing an energetic weekend.
So what if you just had a cozy weekend in? Well, you could use a general phrase like stay at home. Or you could get a little more specific with things like watch movies, play video games, or hey, even something productive like clean the house. This gives you a fantastic little toolkit for talking about your time spent indoors.
And what about a more social weekend? We've got options for that too. Go out is basically the perfect opposite of stay at home. You could also say you meet my friends for a coffee or a meal, or maybe you go shopping. These are your go-to phrases for a weekend spent out and about. Okay, so we have our vocabulary, right? Those are our building blocks. But now we need the blueprint. We need the plan to put them all together. So let's look at the grammar, and specifically how to ask the questions that really get these conversations going. And you know what? You'll notice the pattern here is super simple. Really. The only thing that changes, the question, is the subject. So if the subject is I, you, we, or they, you start with do. If it's he, she, or it, you start with does. Seriously, that's the whole rule you need to remember. That's it.
Let's actually see this rule in action. Okay, look at this question. Do your parents go out on weekends? So, what's the subject? It's your parents. That's plural, right? It's like saying they. So, because of that, the question has to start with do. See? It's a perfect, totally natural sounding question.
Okay, so after a question, what comes next? An answer, of course. And let me tell you, in English, we love short, efficient answers. Instead of repeating the entire sentence, you can just use do, don't, does, or doesn't. So if someone asks, do you relax on weekends? A simple yes, I do or no, I don't. That is absolutely the most natural way to respond.
All right, so we've got the words, we've got the grammar. Now for what I think is the most important part, seeing how this all actually comes together in the real world. Let's check out how these pieces build into real, actual conversations. We're going to look at 4 super common scenarios where you can immediately use what we've just learned. I'm talking about situations you'll find yourself in all the time, whether you're just talking with friends or even introducing yourself. Okay, first up, casual conversation. This is just for when you're chatting with people you already know, right? Your classmates, your colleagues, your friends. A simple question like, do you meet your friends on Saturday? It's a perfect way to show you're interested and just keep that conversation moving along. All right, next scenario. Imagine you're meeting someone new. Maybe you're at a party or a language exchange. Asking about their family's weekend habits, something like, does your family eat out on weekends? Is just such a friendly way to break the ice and learn a little bit more about them.
Now, this one is fantastic for when you're talking with people from different backgrounds. If you ask a broader question, something like, do people in your country work on weekends? That can open the door to a really interesting discussion about cultural differences and similarities too.
And finally, there are going to be times when you just need to describe your own habits. Like in an English class, maybe a self-introduction, maybe even an interview. A clear, confident sentence like, on weekends, I usually exercise and relax, uses our key vocabulary and explains your routine perfectly. And to make this even easier for you, here are some incredibly useful sentence templates. Seriously, think of these as your personal cheat sheet. All you do is take one of our vocabulary words, like, say, watch movies, and you just plug it right in. On weekends, I usually watch movies. Bam! It is that simple to build your own correct, natural-sounding sentences. So, there you have it. We've covered the words, the grammar, the real-world situations. The only thing left to do now is for you to put it all into action.
It is totally your turn to start using these new skills.
So, what are the big takeaways here? Well, you now have the tools to talk about what people do on the weekend. You can ask and answer those yes-no questions totally naturally. And you know how to use do and does correctly every single time. I mean, that is a huge step forward.
And to wrap this all up, I've got a question for you. It's a little challenge to get you practicing right now. So I want you to think about your answer, use that short answer we just learned. So, what about you? Do you exercise on the weekend? See, you've got everything you need to answer that right now.